Hey, what is going on, Twintendo Nation? Hope you're having an awesome day. It feels like a while since I've said that. It's been around 2 weeks since my last upload. And before I do start today's video, I just want to do a quick update on where things are with the channel. So I'd say for the last month or so, I've not been feeling that great. I've not been 100%, definitely not. So I decided to take 2 weeks off from YouTube and I'm feeling much better for it. And also, you guys might have noticed that I'm not actually on the camera for the start of the video. I've been doing that in the last kind of 5 top 10s and top 5s and stuff. And the reason I'm not doing that today is because one, I've got a lot of stuff to sort out, which is going to be incredibly exciting in the next week, like collabs and maybe a last minute trip that I'm not going to say where it is until it's finalized, but if you guys know me in the channel, you'll know where I'll be trying to head to. But not using me on camera is a good excuse to show off these new animations I've got for the channel. As you guys can see, my avatar is now animated and it looks incredible. Obviously, if you guys know, the art is done by Bonus Level. However, these animations were done by my good friend King Slime. You can find his Twitter in the description. It's @RealKingSlime. And if you want any commissions done for some animations and stuff, he's the man to go to. He did a fantastic job with these. And yeah, hopefully this is some good exposure for him because he definitely deserves it. So with all those announcements out the way, guys, before we start today's video, question of the day to you guys: what is the biggest unsolved mystery in the Pokemon games? It doesn't have to be related to Ultra Sun and Moon like these mysteries are. It could be something like, did Blue's Raticate actually die? There is a theory about that and it's pretty interesting, but you know, stuff like that. So let me know in the comments below. And without further ado, guys, let's start the video. So starting off this list is a mystery that came to light around a month ago, and this was the empty plots of land that appeared around the Alola region. Now, I've made an entire video on this and I'm assuming some of you guys have either seen it or heard about it from someone else, so I'll just briefly talk about the details for those who don't know about this mystery. So if you played Pokemon Sun and Moon, you might have noticed these plots of land that are scattered around the Alola region that serve no purpose whatsoever. So when I first started playing Sun and Moon and I noticed these plots of land, I thought they'd actually house new buildings once you become the champion, but that never happened. So it's safe to assume Game Freak are plotting something for the sequel games Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Now, one of the popular rumours circulating the internet at the moment is that people think gyms might be put on these land areas, since at the end of Sun and Moon the Alola region gets its own Pokemon League. I personally don't think these plots of land will be used for gyms, as Game Freak made a big deal about introducing these brand new island trials that were replacing gyms in Pokemon Sun and Moon. It just wouldn't make any sense to bring gyms back along with trials. Also, there are a few other things that don't add up when it comes to these plots of land, such as one of them not looking even big enough for a gym, whereas the others are kind of consistent in size. And one of the plots of land is on Route 15, and we've never really had a gym on a route before. I don't think that's ever happened. They've always been in cities. So I don't see this being gyms, but I do potentially see this being used for something else in Ultra Sun and Moon. But what could that be? Personally, I have no clue whatsoever. So guys, if you have any ideas what these plots of land could be used for, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. In the very minimal after story in Pokemon Sun and Moon, we were introduced to the character Anabel, who worked for the International Police Department. 10 years before Sun and Moon's story takes place, Anabel was found unconscious on Pony Island by Lucca and Nanu after they had just completed a mission for the International Police. Now, it turns out Anabel could only remember her name, that she had come from the Hoenn region, that she protected a tower and was a powerful trainer. Although she has never been informed of this, it turns out Anabel had been lost in an ultra space wormhole for a long time, as they detected large amounts of ultra wormhole energy coming from her, implying that she was a faller, which basically means people who have been stuck in ultra space for a long time. So when the player meets Anabel for the first time in Pokemon Sun and Moon, 10 years have passed since she was found by Lucca and Nanu. Now, during those 10 years, she has now gone up the ranks in the International Police Department and become Lucca's superior. Now, during the aftergame, you'll assist Anabel and Lucca in catching Ultra Beasts that have accidentally come to the Alola region through these Ultra Wormholes. Now, because Anabel is a faller, the Ultra Beasts are drawn to her and act very aggressively towards her, which isn't really explained as to why this happens. Now, if you're a Pokemon expert, you'll realise that Anabel has appeared in a previous Pokemon game before Sun and Moon, which is Pokemon Emerald. Now, in this game, Anabel is one of the Frontier Brains who runs a battle tower at the Battle Frontier. Now, clearly the mystery behind her is, how did she become a faller in the first place? Did she accidentally stumble into a wormhole in the Hoenn region? What's even more interesting is that Game Freak brought back an old character to become the faller in the aftergame, when they could have easily used a new character altogether. So why did they choose Anabel? Also, there are some interesting theories out there debating about whether this Anabel is from the original Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald universe, or is she from the remake universe Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Since these ultra wormholes kind of cut through time and space, there's a lot of theories going on. There's probably could make a whole video on it, so I'm not going to go into any further detail. So in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon, will we find out more about Anabel's backstory, since we didn't learn too much in the after story of Sun and Moon? And will we find out more about Ultra Space and being a faller? I felt like in Sun and Moon that wasn't explained enough, and now that we know Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon is coming, which obviously implies there's going to be a bit more about Ultra Space, I'm definitely excited to see whether Anabel is brought back into these games. Also, was the reason we had no Battle Tower or even a Battle Frontier in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire because of Anabel's disappearance? There are certainly a lot of questions that need answering. One Pokemon that has seemed to have dropped off the face of the earth in the past few years is AZ's Floette. Whatever happened to this Pokemon? AZ's Floette was discovered in very early January 2014, at the same time as Diancie, Hooper and Volcanion, as well as Mega Latios and Latias. To put that into perspective, that was around 5 months before Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire were announced to the public. Since then, we've had a new generation of Pokemon and yet no AZ's Floette. Now I find it incredibly strange that we have yet to receive this Pokemon, as it seemed incredibly likely that it was going to be a mystery gift in either Pokemon X and Y or Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. However, time passed and AZ's Floette has not been distributed, which is even more strange when you remember it actually has an exclusive move, Light of Ruin, which has still not seen the light of day. And the mystery deepens as AZ's Floette can still be found in Sun and Moon's game data. Now the plot thickens when you realise they haven't just kept this Pokemon in from previous games, since they've actually removed other Pokemon that wouldn't have been compatible with Sun and Moon, such as Cosplay Pikachu from Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. So will we finally receive this unique and special Pokemon in Ultra Sun and Moon? Because it's about time this Pokemon had its chance to shine. When Pokemon X and Y launched, there was a lot of mystery behind the Pokemon Zygarde, as many people were disappointed about its stats and overall purpose in the game. Then it was revealed in the Pokemon anime that there was a lot more to Zygarde than first thought, as it had multiple forms, cores and cells, making it one of the most complicated Pokemon out there. So without a Pokemon Z to give Zygarde the exposure it deserves, its new forms made the underwhelming appearance in Pokemon Sun and Moon. Now to get all of Zygarde's new forms, you had to find all 100 cells over the Alola region, which was probably one of the most boring tasks ever in a Pokemon game. It just felt like it was thrown in there as a last minute decision, since Zygarde didn't get the exposure in its own region in X and Y. There wasn't even an explanation as to why Zygarde was in the Alola region. It's like Game Freak don't even know why. However, although getting Zygarde was a chore to get, there were a few interesting Easter eggs relating to Zygarde that might suggest its involvement isn't over in the Alola region. Firstly, in the Mali Garden, which is located in Mali City on Ula Ula Island, the lake in the garden is shaped exactly like Zygarde's 50% form, which is pretty random, especially since Zygarde isn't from the Alola region. Now for some reason, a girl in the Mali Garden who gives you the item Air Balloon says the lake is based off Gyarados, but come on, anyone can see that ain't a Gyarados. The other interesting Easter egg related to Zygarde is found in Resolution Cave on Pony Island. What's interesting is that the bottom floor of Resolution Cave has an identical layout to Terminus Cave, which is where you find Zygarde in the Kalos region. So what is the meaning of making an identical layout to Terminus Cave in the Alola region, and why did we not get a chance to battle Zygarde's 100% form here instead of looking for all the cells around the Alola region? And will Zygarde have a larger role to play in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon? I'd love to hear what you guys think about Zygarde's involvement in Ultra Sun and Moon, because personally I think it's still got a role to play. Quite possibly one of the weirdest Pokemon mysteries of all time made its appearance in Pokemon Sun and Moon, and it might be even weirder than the Ghost Girl in Pokemon X and Y. This mystery is a strange old man who appears in the Hainan Desert, located on Ula Ula Island. The man seems to have amnesia and talks about some very cryptic stuff. If you bring him a Solrock or Lunatone, depending on which game you have, which are obviously a reference to Sun and Moon, he'll start talking about how it's been 30 years since you've seen one. Suddenly, a mysterious power emanates from your Pokemon, and the mysterious man remembers everything. And interestingly, the man mentions that Solrock or Lunatone gave him these star pulses over 30 years ago and that they have all been made safe. He goes on to say he bestowed him to a group of wonderful men and then says he must return home, to space, which was definitely something I didn't see coming. After giving you a sun or moonstone, he flies up towards the sky never to be seen again. So we've had some very weird events in Pokemon, but I think this one takes the cake for being the weirdest. So clearly there's a lot of mystery in this event, but some people have speculated that the star pulses he gave out to the wonderful men are actually the old men found in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire who give you O powers. But apart from that, the rest of his tale remains a mystery. Will the old man make a return in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon? And if so, will there be any more to his story? Only time will tell. So those were my top 5 mysteries left for Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon. Let me know in the comments below which mystery was your favourite, and if you did enjoy the video, a like will be super appreciated, really helps out the channel. And if you want to stay up to date with all things Pokemon, Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon, Pokemon Go, then hit the subscribe button down below. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching, hope you have an awesome day, and I will see you on the next video. Peace!